Hello and welcome friends. In this unit on rural cooperatives, up till now we have discussed the philosophy behind cooperatives, what are cooperatives, what is the need of cooperatives in our rural areas, and then we have also discussed the structure of agricultural cooperatives. So just as an example, and now we'll be talking about the different types of rural cooperatives which are there. So the first type, which is the most common, is the agricultural cooperative. Herein you will find that the cooperative is basically meant to sell the agri produce of the members. So the members basically join together and form a cooperative so that they can sell their agri produce. If they go individually to the market and sell their product individually, naturally they would not be able to bargain for a higher price. On the other hand, if they all in a particular village or maybe in a particular block, they club up their purchases, they would be able to command a higher price in the market. Is this okay? So the basic idea behind forming agriculture cooperative is to be able to command a higher price in the market, to sell the agri produce at a relatively higher price and pass on the benefit to the members. There can be farmer cooperatives which sell fruits and vegetables. You go to places like Madhya Pradesh, you would find so many farmer cooperatives are functioning there and they've been selling fruits. Then there are single commodity or multi-commodity marketing cooperatives also. Single commodity shall be dealing only in one particular commodity which is predominantly grown in a particular region. So there are regions which are where the climate is conducive only for a particular kind of a commodity. If you talk about, let's say, the Maharashtra region, the commodity which is grown in the Maharashtra and the adjoining areas, number one, the cash crops like cotton and sugarcane, and we also have paddy crop. So these kind of places are where you generally find single commodity crop. In a particular area only cotton is being grown, so that is only going to be sold. So that is a single commodity agricultural cooperative. Then there can be multi-commodity also, which are dealing in more than one commodity. They are dealing in 2-3 different kinds of, or maybe more than that, so different kind of commodities they are dealing in. So this is a difference between the single commodity and the multi-commodity marketing cooperatives. The whole idea is to sell the produce in the market and to be able to bargain for a higher price by selling it as one particular unit under the cooperative umbrella. So people coming together selling as one particular unit under the cooperative, they would be able to charge a higher price for their produce in the market. So this is what the basic task of agriculture cooperative is. One example could be the cooperative sugar mills in Maharashtra. They are basically processing the sugarcane that they purchase from the farmers and they sell it then to the traders and the other intermediaries, including the wholesalers and various firms. So this way they are able to pass on the benefits to the farmers. The farmers will get a better price for their sugarcane produce just because they are also able to process it in a more value-added product, that is sugar. Then there are examples of dairy cooperatives. Dairy cooperatives, you can understand, they are only dealing in one commodity, and that particular commodity is the dairy products. Dairy products would include milk and cheese and value-added products like let's say curd or yogurt or products like these. So these are what dairy cooperatives do. They basically collect the dairy products from various members, and then these products are processed so that they may be turned into those products which can fetch a higher price in the market. For example, processing the milk into, let's say, curd or ghee or butter, or many a times they also process the dairy products, the milk, in such a fashion that its shelf life may increase, and after doing this kind of processing they sell these products in the market. And this is what basically the whole functioning of job cooperatives, of dairy cooperatives, is all about. One example which can be taken is Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation, which is also known as Amul. So it basically collects milk from a number of districts in Gujarat state, and within the districts there are so many blocks and so many villages and lakhs of farmers which are members of this particular cooperative, and the milk is collection through a number of collection centers it reaches the processing center. There it is processed, preservatives are added so that the shelf life can be increased. It is packaged, it is processed many times in more value added products like curd and yogurt, and then all these kind of products are then sold into the market under the brand name Amul. So this is an example of the Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation, which is basically a dairy cooperative. In Uttarakhand also, and in Pithoragarh also, you would find Pithoragarh Dugdh Sahkari Utpad Sangh or Pithoragarh Milk Marketing Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation. Now this is basically again an example of a dairy cooperative, and which is using the brand name Anchal. Now again, we can have buyer cooperatives also. Buyer cooperatives, the job will be to buy those items which are required by the members. Let's say members come together. For example, let's take example of buyer cooperatives in the rural areas. So there you would see that that most of the people in rural areas are engaged in agriculture or allied activities, and they require lots of inputs. For example, those who are engaged in farming, cultivation, they would require inputs like fertilizers, pesticides, seeds, and they would also require agri machinery. Maybe they might require tractors, threshers, and other agriculture implements. So the job of the buyer cooperative is to pool the requirements of all the members and then buying on behalf of all the members. And since the requirement of all the members have been pulled up, these cooperatives would be buying in bulk. They would have to buy huge quantities, and since they would be buying huge quantities, they would be able to bargain a much lower price from the supplier, and the cost saving is then passed on to the member. So this is the whole idea behind having a buyer cooperative, and this way you can reduce the cost of inputs for the members who are part of the buyer cooperatives. So rather than a farmer going individually and buying seeds for himself or buying a tractor for himself, it is the cooperative that does it on the behalf of all the farmers, and it makes these kind of inputs available to the farmers at a much lower price than the price that the farmer would have been able to get had he gone individually with his own requirements in the market to buy the particular product or particular agri input. So this is the benefit of joining a buyer cooperative. Buyer cooperatives are also found in urban areas. You might have seen in some industries where number of workers are there. They may also decide to form a buyer cooperative because all these people would require so many items of daily use, FMCG products, edible oil, for example, shampoos and other kind of products. So they would require this on a daily basis, or on at least they would be making these purchases on a weekly basis. So the cooperatives in these kind of industries, what they will do, they will club up the purchase of all the employees in that particular establishment, and then they would buy in bulk, and they would pass on the cost benefit. They would pass on the lower prices to the members. So this way the members would be able to access these items at much lower prices. So this is the job of a buyer cooperative. As I said, they can be used to buy farm inputs. Again, we've got credit cooperatives. What do credit cooperatives do? The most basic thing that they do is they pool in the money from contributed by various members. So let's say there's a particular village, so maybe let's 10-20 people in the village, they come together to form a credit cooperative society. They will pool in their money, they will pay some membership fee, and they will have to pay some membership renewal fee, which maybe has to be paid every week or every fortnightly. And this way this credit cooperative will collect funds from all its members, and there would be a pool of funds available, and this pool would then be used to satisfy the credit requirements of the members of the cooperative. So in case the 20-25 people have come together in the village, they formed this credit cooperative. Let's say everybody has contributed 200 rupees. So the total fund available with the credit cooperative will be 25 into 200, and it will be around rupees 5,000. And now let's say if one of the member has to purchase an electric iron and he requires a credit of, let's say, 1500 rupees. Now the money which has been obtained and which has been collected from all the members, this rupees 5,000, it can be utilized to provide loan to this particular member who requires it, who requires 1,500 as loan. So this is how the credit cooperatives operate, and many times these credit cooperatives are also provided financing by the various banks or regional rural banks or cooperative banks. So this way the credit cooperatives can expand their scope, since they are now being provided financing facilities by these banks and other institutions. They will have now a greater pool of funds available with them, which they can further lend to their members. So this is how credit cooperative societies work. It's not as if the money that is lent is not going to come back. It has to be returned. It will have to be returned by the member, by the concerned member. And that is the benefit of a credit cooperative society in rural areas also. Now, since here the member is not bound as such by any contract or any agreement, but he is bound by the social norms, because if he does not return the money, he will be the subject of ridicule by other members in the village, and it will be very difficult for him to sustain himself in that particular village. So he will be bound by the norms of the society, and that is why he is less likely to default, and he is more likely to repay the amount that he has borrowed from the cooperative. And that is why credit cooperative societies are considered to be a very, very good model for providing credit services to the rural folks. Then there could be multi-purpose cooperatives, which are not just involved in one particular kind of activity. They are actually performing number of activities. For example, they might be doing the marketing of the agri commodities produced by their farmers who are members of the cooperative. So they might be doing the marketing on their behalf also. They might be buying for their members also. They might also be selling dairy products apart from fruits and vegetables and other agriculture commodities. So in that sense, they are multi-purpose cooperatives. Now we need to understand that there are some reasons for underperformance of rural cooperatives. Rural cooperatives have not really done well in India, and there are some reasons behind this particular aspect. There are some reasons which have not allowed the rural cooperatives to perform well. In the next session, we'll be discussing this particular topic, and we'll also be discussing the solutions that can be there, which can help the rural cooperatives improve their functioning, which can help the rural cooperatives to be more effective in discharging their main duties. With this, I'll have to conclude this particular session. Thank you.